The sky over Zelaria glowed with 3 purple moons. The royal palace stood tall in the middle of the capital, shining with golden towers and floating gardens. Inside the throne room, Princess Lyra stood frozen. Long silver hair shimmered under the crystal lights. Her violet eyes were wide with shock. "What did you just say, Mother?" she asked in disbelief. Queen Illyria stood calmly on the throne, dressed in a flowing robe made of starlight silk. "You were to marry a human," she repeated, her voice strong but gentle. Lyra took a step back. "A human? Why would I ever marry a dirty, weak earth creature? They eat with their hands. They have no class." The queen sighed. "This is not about love, Lyra. This is about peace. The humans have helped us in the past. The Galactic Council believes a marriage between our worlds will bring unity. Your marriage is the final step." Lyra clenched her fists. "Shh, and you're just giving me away like I'm some trade deal?" "You are a princess," her mother said. "You were born to protect our people. Sometimes that means sacrifice." Lyra turned and stormed out of the room. Her heart was racing. How could her mother do this? How could she force her to marry a creature from a dirty little blue planet? Earth, in a quiet town. Ray was sitting alone in his room. His small house was filled with books, gadgets, and stars printed on his walls. He was just a normal guy, at least. He thought so. Then, something strange happened. His laptop screen glitched. A blue light shot out, and a voice echoed from the screen. "Ray Carter," the voice said, smooth and calm. "You have been selected by the Galactic Council to represent Earth in the Interstellar Union. Please prepare for travel." Ray blinked. What? Is this some kind of prank? Before he could close the screen, a swirling portal opened right in front of him. His room shook. Books fell from shelves. The air smelled like electricity. Ray backed up, but the portal pulled him in. Moments later, Ray opened his eyes. He was standing in a glowing room. Strange beings with tall heads and glowing eyes stood around him. One of them stepped forward. "Welcome, human. You were chosen for a royal bond. You will meet the Princess of Zelaria." Ray's mouth dropped. "Wait, what? I didn't agree to this. I'm just a guy who likes space books." "You are more than that," the alien said. "Fate has chosen you." Back on Zelaria, Lyra stood on her palace balcony. She watched the stars, her mind full of anger and confusion. Suddenly, the royal guard called out, "The human has arrived." She spun around. Already, she rushed back inside, wanting to get a look at this so-called chosen one. Ray was led through a hallway of floating lights and mirrors. He felt awkward and nervous. He wore a plain black jacket and jeans, not exactly royal clothes. When the tall doors opened, Lyra was waiting on the other side. She looked at him, expecting to feel disgust, but instead, she froze. Ray looked nothing like she imagined. But she wasn't wearing armor or carrying weapons. Hey, he didn't look strong, but his eyes, his deep brown eyes, made her heart skip. Ray looked at her too. He had never seen anything like her. Her beauty wasn't human. Her skin had a soft glow. Her silver hair waved like moonlight, and her eyes held fire and sadness at the same time. For a moment, they just stared at each other. No one spoke. Then, Lyra broke the silence. Her voice was cold, but unsure. "So, you're the one I'm supposed to marry." Ray scratched his head. "Yeah, I guess. Not really how I thought I'd meet my future wife." She crossed her arms. "Don't flatter yourself, human. This is not a love story." Ray gave a small smile. "Good. I'm bad at romance anyway." Lyra blinked. She didn't know how to respond. Why wasn't he scared? Why wasn't he angry? "I didn't ask for this either," Ray said. "But I'm here now, and maybe we can figure this out together." Lyra turned her face away. Her heart felt strange, heavy, but warm. She didn't understand it. In the shadows, someone else was was watching. A small black device hidden on the wall blinked silently. A deep voice spoke through it from a dark place far away. "The union has begun," the voice said. "We must act before it's too late." Princess Lyra sat inside her royal spaceship, her arms crossed and her eyes full of anger. She stared out the large window as stars rushed past. The ship was traveling to Earth at full speed, but she didn't want to go. "Not now, not ever. This is a mistake," she muttered. "I don't belong with a human." Personal guard, a tall alien woman named Zari, stood beside her. "It is not a mistake, Your Highness. It is destiny." Lyra rolled her eyes. "Stop calling it that. It's not destiny. It's a trap. My mother is forcing me to live with some Earth boy who probably smells like mud." Zari said nothing. She knew Lyra needed time. On Earth, Ray stood nervously at the spaceport, wearing a suit that felt too tight. His hair was combed, and he had practiced 100 ways to say hello to an alien princess. None of them felt right. A crowd had gathered nearby, including government officials and alien council members. Everyone wanted to see the moment when a human and a Zellarian royal would meet again. Ray wiped sweat from his hands. "Okay, Ray, don't say anything stupid this time." Suddenly, the sky opened. The royal spaceship appeared with a loud hum and soft blue light. It landed gently on the special landing pad. The door opened. Princess Lyra stepped out slowly, her silver dress flowing behind her. Her face looked calm, but inside, her heart was full of fire. Their eyes met again. Ray smiled. "Hey, welcome to Earth." Lyra didn't answer. She walked right past him like he didn't exist. Ray looked around awkwardly. "Okay, that went great." Later, they were taken to a special Earth mansion prepared just for them. Tade, alien tech mixed with human comfort. Big glass windows, floating lamps, and a bed that could change shape with a thought. But Lyra didn't care. "This place smells like metal and sadness," she said as she walked in. Ray tried to stay friendly. "You know, we don't have to make this awkward. We can try being friends first." Lyra shot him a glare. "I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to be your bride. I just want to go home." Ray's face dropped. "Right, of course." She walked into the bedroom and slammed the door shut. That night, a welcome dinner was held by the Earth government. Cute, important leaders, scientists, and aliens attended. Lyra sat beside Ray at a long silver table, her face cold and unreadable. Ray noticed she hadn't touched her food. "You okay?" She didn't reply. A woman nearby whispered, "She looks angry." Ray sighed. "She's always angry." Suddenly, Lyra stood up. Her hands were shaking. Her eyes looked wild. "Do you feel dead?" she asked. Ray looked confused. "Feel what?" She grabbed the edge of the table. "That energy. It's strange, familiar." And then, without warning, she collapsed. Gasps filled the room. Guards rushed toward her. Ray jumped up and caught her just before she hit the ground. "Lyra," he shouted. Stay with me." Her eyes fluttered open. She looked up at Ray, her voice weak. "Why? Why do your eyes look like his?" Ray froze. "Who?" Before she could answer, she fainted completely. Lyra woke up in the medical room, surrounded by alien doctors. Zari stood nearby, looking worried. "She's stable," one doctor said. "No poison, no illness, but her brainwaves are strange." "How strange?" Zari asked. "She's seeing memories that aren't hers." At that moment, Lyra whispered, "The fire, the war, the human who saved me." Zari stepped closer. "Your Highness?" "What did you say?" But Lyra was silent again. In another room, Ray sat alone. He looked down at his hands. She said, "I looked like someone he whispered. But I've never even left Earth. How can I remind her of someone from her past? He reached into his pocket and pulled out an old photo. It was one he had found just days ago, tucked away in an old box. The photo showed him as a child, but beside him stood a silver-haired girl who looked exactly like Lyra. Ray stared at it. No way, this isn't possible. But deep inside, he felt something strange, a whisper in his mind, like a voice from a dream long forgotten. Back in her room, Lyra sat up in bed, her face pale. She stared at her hands. I don't understand, she said quietly. I hated him, but in that moment, I felt safe. Like I knew him. She looked out the window toward Earth's dark night sky. Who are you? Ray Carter. In a secret place. Far away, a dark figure watched a screen showing Ray and Lyra. The memories are waking up, the figure said. We must stop this before the truth returns. The morning sun rose gently over the Earth mansion where Princess Lyra and Ray were staying. Birds flew by the window. The air was calm, but inside Lyra's mind, a storm was beginning. She sat on the edge of her bed, her silver hair tangled, her hands shaking slightly. Her dream from last night still haunted her. In the dream, she had been standing in a burning city. Smoke filled the air. Alien soldiers were everywhere. She was screaming. And then, a human man grabbed her hand and pulled her to safety. His face had been burned, his body bruised, but his eyes were kind, and familiar. They were Ray's eyes. But that wasn't me, she whispered to herself. That memory isn't mine. She looked at her hands. What's happening to me? Ray, on the other side of the mansion, sat quietly in the study room. In front of him was the old photo he found earlier. The one that made no sense. It showed him as a child. That was normal. But beside him stood a girl with silver hair and violet eyes, just like Lyra. How is this possible? Ray said aloud. I've never left Earth. I don't even remember this photo being taken. He flipped the photo over. The thing was written on the back in alien letters. He didn't understand the words, but the date was clear. 22 years ago. But I'm only 23, he whispered. Suddenly, a soft knock came at the door. It was Lyra. She didn't say anything. She just stepped into the room slowly, her face unsure. Her eyes fell on the photo in Ray's hand. That picture, she said. I saw it in my dream. Ray looked up at her, surprised. You saw this? She nodded. I saw you, holding my hand, pulling me from fire. You were protecting me, but I was older. It was like I was living someone else's life. Ray's voice dropped. I've been having strange dreams too. I see you, but it's not you. It's a different time, a different place. For a few seconds, silence filled the room. Neither of them knew what to say. It was like a secret door had opened between them, and they were both afraid to walk through it. Finally, Lyra asked, Do you think we've met before? Ray slowly nodded. I think we were someone else, long time ago. Later that day, Lyra demanded answers. She called her mother through the palace's hologram system. Queen Ilaria appeared in blue light, her face calm but tired. Why didn't you tell me? Lyra asked, her voice shaking. Why am I seeing memories that don't belong to me? The queen took a deep breath. Because the truth is heavy, child. And once you know it, everything will change. Tell me, Lyra said firmly. The queen looked at her daughter with deep sadness. Then she began. 25 years ago, during the Great War, our planet was under attack. We were losing. Our soldiers were dying. Our capital was burning. That's when a human warrior appeared. Lyra's eyes widened. He wasn't like the others. He wasn't from Earth. He was created in a lab built from ancient human DNA, gifted with strength and memory. He was made to lead and to protect. Ray stepped into the room. And what happened to him? The queen turned to look at him. He died. He gave his life to save my daughter, you, Lyra. Lyra whispered. So, why do I remember it now? Queen nodded slowly. Because you are connected. When that warrior died, we used part of his DNA, his spirit, and rebirth technology. Years later, a child was born on Earth. That child is you, Ray. Ray stepped back, his heart pounding. So I'm not just human. You are more than human, the Queen said. You are a memory reborn. That night, Lyra stood on the balcony under the stars. The cold wind blew her hair, but she didn't move. Her heart was heavy with confusion, fear, and something else, hope. Ray stepped beside her. You okay? No, she said softly. Everything I knew was a lie. And now I'm supposed to marry a boy who used to be a hero I barely remember. Ray smiled a little. To be fair, I didn't expect to be a hero either. I barely passed gym class. Lyra chuckled for the first time. It was small, but real. You're not what I expected, she said. And you're a lot more than I expected. Ray replied. Maybe we both need time to understand what this really means. She looked at him. Maybe we're not enemies anymore. Ray nodded. Maybe we never were. Far above, a dark ship floated just beyond Earth's moon. Inside, a creature with glowing red eyes watched them on a screen. They are remembering, the creature hissed. We must act soon, before the bond becomes unbreakable. The sun had not yet risen. A soft blue glow filled the Earth mansion as Ray sat alone, staring into the mirror. He touched his face slowly, as if trying to feel something hidden beneath his skin. I'm not just human. He whispered to himself. I was someone else, a warrior, a protector. But he didn't remember the battles. He didn't remember saving Lyra. Only small flashes, fire screams, a silver-haired girl crying in his arms. Were those real memories or dreams? Him. The door creaked open. It was Lyra. She stepped into the room without speaking. Her expression was serious, but calm. I want to see it, she said. Ray turned to her. See what? The lab. The place where you were created. Ray blinked. I don't even know where that is. Lyra held up a crystal chip, glowing with soft green light. I found it in my mother's private files. It has coordinates. The truth is waiting for us. 2 hours later, a small Zealarian ship left Earth's orbit. Ray and Lyra sat side by side, heading toward an old moon base hidden on a dead planet nearby. The journey was quiet. Ray broke the silence. Are you scared? Ray looked out the window. Yes, but I need to know who you really are. Who? I was to you. Ray nodded. Me too. The ship landed on a cold, gray surface. The moon base looked abandoned, dusty metal walls, broken lights, and silence everywhere. But when Lyra placed the crystal chip into the door scanner, the doors hissed open. The lights flickered on. Machines woke from sleep. This place is still alive, Ray whispered. As they walked inside, holograms lit up around them blue. Images of scientists, soldiers, and glowing test tubes. One screen showed a name, Project Valor, Subject 117, Human Warrior Clone. That's you, Lyra said, quietly. Ray stepped closer. Subject 117. That's what I was called before I had a name. Another screen played a video. A younger version of Queen Illyria stood beside a sleeping man in a chamber. We created him to save us, she said in the video. He is not born, but made. Still, he has a heart, a soul, and when the time comes, he will protect her, even if it kills him. Lyra looked at Ray. She created you. For me, Ray's voice was low. No wonder she didn't want us to. No. They moved deeper into the lab, in a dark hallway. Found a room with hundreds of old memory crystals each, one holding moments from the war. Lyra picked one up. It glowed when she touched it suddenly. Her eyes widened. She was seeing something, A vision. She stood in a war zone, surrounded by falling buildings and screaming people. A tall human man held her hand and shouted, "Run." Then, the vision shifted. The man stood in front of her, arms out, blocking a massive alien beast. He roared, "I won't let you touch her." The beast attacked. The man was stabbed through the chest. Blood poured out. "No," Lyra screamed in the vision. Ray grabbed her shoulder. "Lyra, what is it?" She dropped the crystal, her eyes full of tears. "I saw it. You died saving me." Ray felt a cold chill run through his spine. "So, it's true." She looked into his eyes. "You weren't just a soldier. You loved me." Ray looked down. "And now I've been brought back," without remembering any of it. Suddenly, a loud alarm echoed through the base. "Intruder alert! Intruder alert!" The screens flashed red. Ray and Lyra turned to see a black shadow step out of the hallway. It was a tall, covert alien with glowing red eyes and sharp claws. "You were not supposed to return here," Kay hissed. Lyra stood in front of Ray. "Who are you?" "I am the one who killed him," the creature said, "and I will kill him again." It raised its arm, and a blaster charged. Ray acted on instinct. He jumped forward, pushing Lyra out of the way. The blaster fired, barely missing her. Ray landed on top of the alien, punching it hard. But the alien was strong. It threw him across the room. Lyra screamed, her power flaring. Her eyes glowed as she lifted her hands and sent a wave of blue energy toward the creature. It flew back and crashed into a wall. Ray stood slowly. "What was that?" Lyra looked at her hands. "I don't know. I've never used that power before." The creature disappeared in a flash of dark mist. "They'll come again," Ray said, breathing hard. "They know we're remembering." Back on the ship, as they returned to Earth, Lyra sat beside Ray, quiet. "I'm sorry," she finally said. "For what?" Ray asked. "For calling you weak, for not believing in you." Ray smiled slightly. "It's okay. I didn't believe in myself either." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "Maybe you and I are stronger together." Ray nodded. "Maybe. We always were." But far above, more ships moved in the dark. War was coming again, and this time, the warrior and the princess would have to fight side by side. The stars above Earth sparkled quietly, but danger was moving closer. High in orbit, 3 dark alien ships hovered in silence. They belonged to the Drexen Order, an ancient enemy of Zelaria. Their goal was simple: destroy the human boy before the royal bond was complete. Inside the lead ship, a Drexen commander growled, "The human clone and the princess are bonding faster than expected. If they remember everything, we lose control." A soldier stepped forward. "Do we attack?" The commander's red eyes narrowed. "Yes. Start with the human. Kill him. Break the bond." On Earth, Ray sat outside the mansion under the night sky. He looked up at the stars, feeling small but no longer lost. After learning the truth in the lab, things finally made sense. He wasn't just an ordinary boy. He had been a warrior once, and now he had a purpose again. Lyra joined him, holding 2 mugs of warm tea. Still thinking about the past, she asked softly. Ray nodded. "I can't stop. The more I think about it, the more I feel like that old warrior is still inside me." Lyra handed him a mug. "Maybe he is, and maybe I'm still the girl you saved." They shared a quiet moment. The stars twinkled above. For the first time, it didn't feel awkward between them. It felt real. Suddenly, alarms blared from the mansion. Wheel, woo. The lights flickered. Guards ran through the halls. Ray and Lyra stood quickly. "What's happening?" Ray shouted. A hologram appeared, showing a small enemy ship entering Earth's atmosphere, heading straight for them. "They're here," Lyra said, her voice cold. The Drexens. Before they could move, the enemy ship fired. Boom. An explosion shook the side of the mansion. Walls cracked. Glass shattered. Smoke filled the air. Ray grabbed Lyra's hand. Go on. They ran through the hallway as guards battled a group of Drexen attackers who had already landed. These creatures were tall, dark, and covered in spiked armor. Their red eyes glowed like fire. Ray and Lyra made it to the safe room, but one Drexen followed. Ray turned to fight. Go inside, Lyra. She refused. I'm not leaving you, the Drexen charged. Ray stepped forward, grabbing a metal rod from the floor. He swung hard, hitting the alien across the face. The creature roared and slashed at Ray, cutting his arm. Lyra raised her hand. Her energy glowed again bright blue this time. She screamed and released a blast of power. Boom! The Drexen flew back, hit the wall, and fell unconscious. Ray looked at her, surprised. You saved me. Again. She held his arm, checking the wound. You would have done the same. Later, in the healing room, Ray sat with a bandage on his arm. Lyra sat beside him, quiet but alert. They're getting desperate, she said. They know we're remembering too much. Ray leaned back. I still don't remember everything, but in that moment, when I saw you in danger, I didn't think. I just acted like I'd done it 1,000 times before. Lyra looked into his eyes. That's because you have. Okay. Their hands touched. For a brief second, another memory flashed between them, clear and bright. Ray, crest in armor, holding Lyra close as ships exploded above them. He kissed her forehead and said, I'll always come back for you. Back in the present, Lyra gasped. You said that? She whispered. Before you died. Ray nodded slowly. And maybe this time, I won't have to die. The next day, the Galactic Council held a secret meeting. Lyra and Ray stood before them, surrounded by alien leaders and Earth officials. An elder alien spoke. The Drexens have broken peace laws. This attack was a warning. They fear the bond between you two. Another leader added, they fear what will happen if you fully awaken your old selves. Ray stepped forward. Then help us fight them. Help us protect this peace, Lyra added. We don't want war, but we will not run. The council nodded. You have our support, they said. But you must complete the bond. The union ceremony must happen soon. Only then will your powers become whole again. Ray looked at Lyra. Are you ready for that? Lyra hesitated, then slowly nodded. Double quotes, yes. I don't know what will happen, but I trust you now, more than anyone. That night, while the world rested, the Drexen fleet moved again. This time, they weren't sending just one attacker. They were preparing a full invasion. Inside the ship, the commander growled, let them plan their little wedding. We'll crush it before the vows are spoken. But deep inside, both Ray and Lyra, something had awakened. Memories, power, love, and the will to fight together. The past was returning, and the war was just beginning. The Earth Mansion was quiet, but not peaceful. Inside, Princess Lyra stood in front of a tall mirror, wearing a white and silver ceremonial robe. Her eyes were fixed on her own reflection, but her thoughts were far away. Tomorrow was the royal bond ceremony. It was the moment that would unite her and Ray formally, spiritually, and even mentally. After the bond, their powers would grow stronger. Their past lives would fully return. Their two worlds would finally be joined. And yet, she wasn't sure if she was ready. Lyra touched her chest. Her heart was beating fast. Is this what I want? She whispered. Or is this just what everyone expects of me? In another room, Ray sat on the floor with his eyes closed. His memories were becoming sharper, no more real, each day. He saw battlefields. He saw young Lyra crying. He saw himself standing between her and death, again and again. And then he saw something else, a moment in the past, just before the warrior version of him died. Lyra had been begging him to run. He hadn't listened. He had made a choice back then: protect her, no matter the cost. Now, Ray had another choice to make. Was he ready to bind himself to Lyra again? And more importantly, did she truly want that? Later that night, Lyra and Ray met in the moonlight garden behind the mansion. Stars shone above them, and soft blue lights floated among the trees. Neither of them spoke at first. Finally, Lyra said, "Do you feel it too? The pressure?" Ray nodded. "It's like the whole galaxy is watching us." Lyra took a deep breath. "Ray, you're kind, brave. You've saved me more times than I can count even, in lives you don't remember. But I need to ask you something." "Anything," he said softly. "Do you really want this? To bond with me? To be part of this? Forever?" Ray looked at her, not as a princess, not as someone from another world, but as someone he trusted, someone he might be falling in love with. "I didn't choose any of this," he said. "Not at first, but now I choose you." Kara's eyes filled with emotion. She nodded. "Then I'll choose you too." The next morning, the sun rose bright over the United Earth Hall. It was a massive, glowing dome where the royal bond ceremony was to be held. Representatives from many alien planets had arrived. The Galactic Council stood in silence, watching. Lyra walked down the glowing steps, wearing the same white ceremonial robe. Her crown sparkled like the stars. Ray stood at the center of the hall, dressed in simple but elegant clothes. He had no crown, no armors to succumb strength in his eyes. They faced each other. The lead elder stepped forward. "Do you, Princess Lyra of Zelaria, choose this bond freely?" Lyra took a deep breath. "I do." The elder turned to Ray. "And you, Ray Carter of Earth, do you choose this bond freely?" Ray smiled. "I do." The elder raised both hands. "Then it is done." A wave of golden light flowed over the couple. Suddenly, Ray and Lyra felt something deep inside, a connection. Their minds opened to one another. They could hear each other's thoughts. They could feel each other's hearts. And then, a powerful memory returned, shared between them both. They saw the battlefield again, but this time it was clearer than ever. The warrior Ray's past self was badly injured. Lyra, younger and scared, held on to him. "You can't die," she cried. "You promised you'd stay." The warrior smiled weakly. "Then I'll find you in the next life." Back in the present, Lyra gasped. A tear slid down her cheek. "You found me," she whispered. Ray nodded. "I always will." But the moment of peace didn't last long. Far above Earth, Drexen warships appeared, 20 in total. They had come to stop the bond, and now they were too late. Inside the command ship, the Drexen leader roared, "The bond is complete. Destroy them both before they become unstoppable." In the hall, alarms blared. A council soldier ran in. "Enemy ships incoming. They're preparing to fire." Ray looked at Lyra. "Time to make another choice." Lyra smiled. "Let's finish what we started." They held hands. Energy surged between them, stronger than before. Their powers had awakened. Their bond had made them one. Outside, Earth's defense shields powered up. Solarian ships joined the battle. The skies lit up with laser fire. But at the center of it all were Ray and Lyra, no longer unsure, no longer afraid. This time, they were ready. The sky above Earth was no longer peaceful. Fire rained from above as the Drexen fleet opened full attack. Giant black ships hovered in the atmosphere, shooting bright red beams down at the planet. Inside the United Earth Hall, Ray and Lyra stood, hand in hand. Their bond had just been sealed, staged. Their powers were rising, but now they had to fight. "They're trying to destroy everything," Ray said, watching the burning clouds. Lyra looked into his eyes. Then let's show them who we really are. As the hall shook from another explosion, Galactic Council guards rushed in. Your Highness, we need to evacuate. Lyra shook her head. No, we fight here. Rey stepped forward. Send me to the front lines. I was born to protect. Council members spoke in fear, but you've only just remembered who you are. Rey smiled. Then it's time I act like it. Outside, the sky turned red. Drexen soldiers began landing in waves tall, armored beasts with red eyes and claws sharp as steel. Earth soldiers and Zalarian guards tried to hold the line, but they were losing ground fast. And then Rey arrived. He wore a new suit, part alien, part human tech. It glowed with the same energy that now flowed through his body. As he ran into the battlefield, he moved faster than before, stronger. His memories of battle came back in pieces, but they were enough. He grabbed a Drexen by the arm and threw it into the air. He shouted, "This time, I won't die protecting her. I'll live protecting everyone." Back in the hall, Lyra stood on the roof, floating slightly above the ground. Her eyes were glowing bright blue. Her hands were raised toward the sky. She summoned light and wind, creating a shield over the city. Civilians cheered below. She's protecting us. She's the Princess of Peace. Lyra wasn't doing it alone. Through the bond, she and Rey were sharing energy. She could feel his heartbeat. Even far away in space, the largest Drexen ship began to open. Inside was the commander, the same monster who had killed Rey in the past life. Now he wanted to do it again. "Send me down," he growled. "Let me finish what I started." He landed near the ruins of the old palace where Rey stood alone, waiting. Rey took a deep breath. "So it's you." The commander laughed. "You remember me, little warrior, still weak after all this time." Rey's voice was calm. "I remember dying to protect her, and I remember your face. But this time, I won't fall." The final battle began. Their fight shook the ground. Rey dodged, punched, rolled, and blasted energy from his hands. The commander fought like a beast, using shadow and claws. Each time Rey fell, he got up again. Each time the commander attacked, Rey hit back harder. And finally, when the commander tried to stab Rey through the chest again, Lyra appeared. She teleported, in a flash of light, floating above the battlefield like a star. Her voice echoed through the air. "You had one chance. Now, your time is over." She lifted her hands. Rey joined her. Together, they sent a beam of golden light toward the commander. It hit him with the force of a sun. He screamed, vanished into Ashdod. The battlefield fell silent. The Drexen ships began to retreat. The war was over. People slowly walked out of shelters, staring at the sky. The princess and the warrior had saved them. Back in the United Earth Hall, the council gathered again. News of the victory spread across galaxies. Lyra and Rey stood before the people, hand in hand. One council leader spoke. This bond was not just for peace. It was destiny. Another added, "You are now more than husband and wife. You are protectors of balance between worlds." Rey turned to Lyra. "I never thought my life would lead to this." Lyra smiled. "Me neither. I hated the idea of marrying a human." They both laughed. "But now," she said, "I wouldn't trade this life for anything." That night, as the stars returned to peace, Rey and Lyra sat on the balcony, side by side. They didn't speak for a while. They didn't need to, through the bond. Their hearts were already talking. Rey finally broke the silence. "Do you think this is the end?" Lyra looked at him. "No, this is only the beginning." Far away in deep space, a strange signal blinked a message, lost in time. A new mystery, a new threat. But for now, Kay, the warrior and the princess, were together, married to the unknown, and ready for whatever came next.